Hi, it's Shay. Welcome back. You're with the Oz Arab Media team. Today, Daniel Nour joins us to discuss his upcoming role and presence at the Sydney's Writers' Festival. Daniel brings in a fresh perspective to the Australian writers scene. His work explores identity, faith, and stories that shape us. Daniel, thank you so much and welcome to Oz Arab.
Oh, thanks for having me, Shay. This is a great honor. I'm very happy to be here. And I'm so excited also to be talking about my memoir, my book.
It's nice to have you here, and obviously, your stories reflect the very diverse ethnicities of
Yeah.
our audiences. Share with us a bit about your background and your personal and professional journey.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Well, I'm Egyptian Australian, and I think Oz Arab Media has many subscribers and viewers from across the Arab world. Most Egyptians in Sydney are Coptic Orthodox, and they came across in successive waves, starting in the late '60s through to the '90s and now. And I'm, very proud of my heritage. My memoir, How to Dodge Flying Sandals, is a tongue-in-cheek title. I'm sure that whether you're from Lebanon or Iraq or Syria or Yemen or wherever, you've at some point in your life, had to dodge a sandal, but from your teta, your mother, your father, and that this is something that you're very familiar with. If you don't mind, I might tell you a little bit about the meaning of the title.
Sure, that was going to be my next question. So, your memoir, How to Dodge Flying Sandals, it's a striking title.
Yeah.
Talk to us about its meaning and how it reflects the different themes in the book.
Well, Shay, I have training in journalism, and in 2020, I won the Young Premier's, or rather, the Premier's Young Journalist of the Year award through Multicultural New South Wales, which was a great privilege for me. And so I'm always trying to think about metaphors and the way that they can be used to tell a story. And for me, dodging flying sandals is more than just a way of disciplining your kids, as common as that is. It's also about the many things that we dodge in order to really to survive as young Arab Australians. I'm a young queer person. I have a same-sex partner. That's a huge taboo in our community, huge stigma. Also, I'm a person of faith. My parents on one side are Protestant, on another side they're Coptic Orthodox. I actually, in the last few years, really got involved with the Egyptian Catholic community. It's a whole experience of dodging sandals. Trying to navigate, what do I hold on to? What am I allowing myself to let go of a little bit? How do I compromise both? And that's an experience I think that the children of migrants have across the board, not just about sexuality, but also about culture, about cultural values. For example, do they have boyfriend, girlfriend? No, but in our cultures, we don't have boyfriend, girlfriend, or maybe we do. This is a negotiation, of this idea of dating before marriage. Um, what will you do for work? I'm sure I know about your community, Shay, but in mine, doctor or lawyer, that's it. I mean, there are other professions, but there's this esteem that's given to certain careers. I chose something else. Many of my friends have chosen other things. So we're all dodging sandals, and that's, I hope, the metaphor that I get across through my book.
Thank you for sharing. I'm sure some of those stories would have resonated with a lot of our audiences as well. Your memoir and your work explores diverse experiences.
Ah,
Now, when writing, how do you navigate those different experiences and identities?
yeah, it's a tricky thing because something that I was taught through the sweatshop literacy movement, which is the kind of organization that I've been a part of for about 5 years now, is that, and this is something too that I've observed in all my writing. You can see, or you can't really, you can only see my own book here, my own cover. That's my father and that's my mother, and that's a young me looking really well, fed up, He looks fed up.
We have
This
to,
young boy.
we need to see little Daniel again.
Ah, there he is.
I think that's the awkward turtle. That's the awkward turtle. Yes.
See it?
Yeah.
But anyway, the point I was trying to make was we all have a very specific experience, right? And so something that I was taught through this movement, this literacy movement, which is a mentorship for young writers, is that, especially young writers of color, is that we have to try to make the specific, the personal, universal, and that the best way to write is very, very precisely. It's not good to write in broad strokes, I went to this school, or I went to that church, or I ate this food. No, specifically, which suburb were you in? What did the food taste like? What did the food smell like? And what were the particulars of your experience? So for me, the way that I explore the diverse experiences that I've had of faith, of family, of culture, is that I tell them as honestly as I can. And that's very challenging. That's very challenging because some people in our community don't really, and I'm just going to be very honest about this, they don't really get literature. I'm just going to be real with you. I'm sure you're a reader, but not everyone is. Some people think that books are really, they should just be nice, historical, decorative, But a memoir and a fiction is often challenging, often challenges taboo subjects, and it says things in a way that is not reverential, and doesn't always paint everything in a perfect light. And I hope by telling the good and the bad, the pretty and the ugly, that I've been able to tell an honest, a real account of what it's like growing up Egyptian Australian, our shortcomings, our obsession about money and achievement and appearances as a culture, as well as our love, our devotion to our children, the hard work we do. You understand? So that's how I explore it. I explore it as honestly and as precisely as I can.
Great advice. And thank you for sharing that detail with us. What made you want to tell your story now? Give
Yeah,
me
that's a
some
good.
context. What was the prompt pushing
Yeah,
you to share your story with obviously a greater audience?
I know, I know. I mean, it's always scary to do that, by the way. Very, very frightening. It's because it's intimidating to think, oh my goodness, people will assess my work. People will assess my work and say, well, I didn't enjoy that. And that is really a very, intimidating prospect. But that's what it is to be a writer and to be in people's um, uh, to be in people's employ, to be useful as a writer. You don't just want to be on a shelf somewhere. You want to be in people's homes, on their Kindles. I also did the audiobook recording last week at a studio somewhere in North Sydney. So all week I had to read the whole book and do the voices of my father, of my mazar, all of the experiences that I've had. So that was really thrilling. I think, I've been working on this book for 2 years steadily, writing more or less every week
It's
and
a
every
long
day.
time,
Yeah,
two
it's a long
years.
time. And I've been thinking about this book for 5 to 10 years, in various guises. I did it as a screenplay with, I did a course with AFTARS, the Film, Television and Radio School, on top of my day job. I took some time and I went and did that. I wrote small chapters for anthologies, and I wrote elements as I wrote an essay for SBS about what it was like to grow up, or rather, what it was like to be with my parents during the pandemic. And you can find that on SBS Voices, like how they would go out and do all the shopping, get all the toilet paper, bread rolls, a leg of lamb. You know what I mean? Like the excess, the uh, cheddar, ziyada. It was all too much. So it's not that I haven't been wanting to tell it. I've been wanting to tell it for a long time, but it came together for me because Sydney Writers Festival, which is where I'll be reading a chapter of my book, and that's on Friday, May 23rd, is a huge opportunity for all of the writers of Australia. I think it's the premier literary event, more or less, in our country, I think. And it's an opportunity for us to showcase our work. We were thinking, could we do it last year, but it didn't come together in time. Writing is extremely time consuming, and also the process of editing is extremely time. It takes months back and forth. We miss so much as writers that you need a really good editor, not just, you know, for proofreading, typos, and also the structure of the thing, reorganizing chapters, rewriting parts. It's a big job. This was the time I felt like it all came together for me. I hope that audiences want to laugh. I've written something really from my heart that I hope makes you laugh from your heart, and maybe wee yourself a little bit, Shay, if I can just say that. I want you to laugh so hard that you wee when you read this book. So that's why. And I think the time is, I feel like people are ready for that, because it's a hard world we live in, and I think people need to laugh.
Yeah, look, it's
Yeah.
definitely, I can see your personality and your excitement coming out, Daniel. I'm sure, like I said before, there'd be a lot of us, especially the younger generations, that would be very excited to hear about your story and obviously to connect with those experiences.
Mm.
Now, look, you've taken such a proactive and positive approach to this storytelling. And, we haven't really gone into some of the more, heartbreaking moments of writing it, some of that, very common experiences of heartache,
Yeah,
whether that
sure.
be through growing up, through your faith, through your culture, or here as a young Australian. Your memoir strikes a really good balance between heartache and humor. How did you go about getting that balance, in a really nice way without obviously compromising on the intent and the credibility of those experiences?
Yes, yes. Your heart is breaking. There's a song in Arabic called Garhatani by Shireen Abdul Wahab rather,
Mhm.
about her broken heart. And this is the theme of all Arab music. My heart is broken. My heart longs for you. You've taken my eyes. You are my eye.
The eye and
Um,
the heart are very special in the Middle Eastern, the Arab
the eye and the heart.
culture.
You are the heart of my eye. Um, but I appreciate that question. You've rightly said that humor and heartache often go together. We, as the children of migrants, as Arabs living through the Gaza war now, what we see unfolding every day on TV, we know that laughter and tears coexist, and that in the same breath that you laugh, more or less, you will cry. If not then, shortly afterwards. So we know that we have to laugh to survive, and we know that um, the pain and the sorrow of existence is just as much a significant part of it as humor and joy. And I think sometimes this is what is lacking in Anglo literature, which is, especially in modern literature, there's a kind of despair, a nihilism, which is really fashionable. Um, I'm not going to name particular books, but I know that it's almost considered kind of admirable to write a, a pessimistic book, and that this is somehow more true to life. I don't agree with that, and I think as people of faith, people of color, uh, we honor the joy and the humor of our get togethers, of our meals, of our festivals, of our religious observances. So for me, the balance was innate. I, as a person, value humor. Every day I pray, I will laugh just as much as I cry, if not more. And so that was an important value of the book that I was creating, or a criteria, if you like, for the book that it would come through. And I think also humor is a teacher. Humor is instructive. Um, the Greeks, the playwrights of ancient Greece, saw humor as a valid genre, just like tragedy, and they were able to give messages about corruption, uh, greed, wealth, love through the genre of comedy. Comedy is a valid genre. And so that's why I pitched it as a comedic memoir. And we've written it that way. It's a funny book. Every chapter, I hope, makes you laugh. It's a clever book. The craftsmanship is there. It's surprising. And I agree with whoever it was who said that in its essence, a joke is a surprise. That's what a joke is. Why is that funny? It's because it was a surprise, something in it that was so unexpected that it makes you laugh, which is a miracle, this miracle of laughter. So I hope very, very much that that is how I broach the intimate topics of the book, especially the taboo topics about sex, sexuality, sex outside of marriage, um, family values, what it
Very
means to.
controversial topics, just generally, but also in very ethnic households.
Yeah, very, very controversial topics, and I hope, yeah, I hope that I've been able to season those topics with a bit of humor. Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing. And we could definitely see that your personality has really taken a style in this memoir. Look, for those in the next generation, very young Australians from perhaps an ethnic background as well, what advice would you give them in terms of capturing and sharing their story? You've done so well
Oh, okay, sure.
in sharing your platform, but for those next generation taking an inspiration from you, what would be your advice to them?
Sure, Shay. Well, I would say if you're a person, young person interested in journalism, literature, media, or the arts, do art, create art. Don't wait for an opportunity for it to be given to you. I mean, it's important that you put yourself out there, but it's also important that you're actually on your craft, you know? How does a mechanic develop an interest in cars? It's because they work on cars, you know, they have the tools, they fix their own car, they fix their friend's car. They don't just wait, you know, to suddenly learn an entire craft. They build the skill. It's the same with any um, vocation, you know. So you need to develop, if you're, you know, a doctor or a lawyer or something more straightforward, you know, a plumber, a builder, you develop your craft. So why wouldn't it be the same with an artist? Why wouldn't it be the same with a journalist or a writer? You need to write. If you're interested in writing, you need to write. So my suggestion to you would be keep a journal every day, have a diary. Think about not just what you experienced that day, but write it as a letter to someone else reading. How can I convey it in a way that it comes fresh off the page? And learn a little bit about the craft of writing. So I was very fortunate, and I was very deliberate in that I went out and sought memberships to places that could help me write. For me, one that was huge was uh, the sweatshop literacy movement, which is a Western Sydney based writers workshop. They had an office in Parramatta, now they have an office in Fairfield, uh, and they taught me the tools of writing. I also did a journalism degree, which was very helpful, but you don't need to do a huge long degree in order to get the skill set. You can learn about writing. You can go to the library and borrow out books about journalism 101, narrative writing 101. Yeah, and realize that it's a craft. There are rules, there are principles. So you need to learn those. Don't be afraid, give it a go and enjoy what you do. At the end of the day, I must write every day because otherwise I go crazy, you know? It's my way of processing. I don't do it just because I want to be successful. I do it because I love it. I love to do it. Yeah.
Look, thank you for sharing, Daniel. I'm sure a lot of people taking inspiration from you would really benefit from that advice, especially your push for developing that craft and that skill. Thank you for joining us today at the Oz Arab Media Studios. I'm going to leave our audiences with you. If you could share the best way to get in contact with you or to come along to your reading at the Sydney Writers Festival.
From my eye, I
From
will tell you
your
from my
eye,
eye. Yeah.
before I pass you over to our audiences, I just want to say thank you for joining us today at the Oz Arab Media Studios. Please reach out to our team and get behind one of our own who is doing amazing things. Over to you,
Oh, thank
Daniel.
you so much, Shay. I really appreciate it. And this is a beautiful interview. Thank you. You're a great interviewer. So how do people get in touch with me or follow my work? So the best thing to do is you can look me up at danielnour.com, and there you will find all of my writing on the section of my website that's called portfolio. So you click on that big button right in the middle of the website, all my work comes up. What you can do to see me read in person, I'm a pretty funny reader. I'll make you laugh. Come on, I'll give you a good time. Is you come at Sydney Writers Festival on May 23rd, and you can book the tickets through the Sydney Writers Festival website. It's a Friday night in May. I'll be doing one reading at about 5, and I'll be doing another at 8. One of those is a discussion with a fantastic Palestinian Australian author, Michaela Sahar, about her family's return and her own return to her ancestral home in Philistine. So I would encourage you to meet me there. Can't wait to make you laugh. And in general, just buy my book. That's what I would say. And you can do that through simonandschuster.com. If you Google how to dodge flying sandals, you won't miss it. And you can also follow me on Instagram, Danny underscore Nour. Danny underscore. I'll see you there.